We're not live, correct?
We are now.
We are now, he said.
Good job, guys.
Change it up a little.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Right there?
You bet.
Your normal spot.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't know. You can get this one and this one. You don't want to. I'm gonna be over here for the most part.
A little different.
Look close, so.
I said a little different.
I see Diane.
Let me get the leave.
Say it's time.
It's all split.
They make me spill my water.
I stayed home for almost 3 weeks. Oh, I didn't want to see nobody.
Only was like
Well, I ain't walking like I want to. I'm walking.
Did you tell him you walk like your daddy?
They stay for 8 weeks, he says that's even good.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of people that have all the wounds, backs, and all kinds of stuff.
I'm gonna tell you, it's been quite the experience.
Did you tell him you walk like Kyle Corrier, that's why you can't walk like they want you to?
No.
There's a certain kind of swag when you have to be Kyle's son.
I drove all the emphasis when you came in the room, Darryl standing there, so I'll put you to sleep. Hold on just a minute. You go down to the spare parts room and find a lightly used penile implant sticking me while you got me back there.
We're live on YouTube right now.
She said, you're asleep, bang.
She stuck at there little and said, I'm gonna make you relax. She told me, said, whoop. I told her, I said, that's the best thing you could have done.
I stayed in the hospital 4 days. I know people go home the next day. Then I sprayed blood clots, and they put them pumps on both your feet. I want to stay for as long as I could. Sure don't want blood clot.
I think they use that same stuff that got Michael Jackson. Last time I had a colonoscopy, the guy told me, he said, you started to count back, and he said, I promise you, next thing you'll do is wake up, and it was as vivid as bam.
It was easy to go to sleep. It was easy to wake up.
Yeah.
Had no problem. No problem.
We'll go back on Miss Diane, right?
Yeah, I don't know why she's not here.
Oh, my.
I do have just one citizen.
Okay, thank you.
She got it on the way.
you're viewing from home, we are waiting on Miss Diane Seifert, the finance officer. If you will just sit back, hang tight, we will start in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Mayor, we don't need,
We don't have to
to
wait.
see, we can get started, she'll come in, she knows where she's gonna sit.
Okay. At this time, we will call this meeting to order. We welcome each of you that are here for our social distancing meeting for COVID-19. We appreciate you that are here, and citizens, we thank you for joining us via YouTube, and if you can, continue to watch all the way through, and we appreciate it. At this time, we will have a moment of silence, and then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everybody would stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now move to adopt the agenda.
Mayor, prior to doing that, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented with 2 changes. The first being to add the minutes for the January 7th recess meeting, and secondly, being the addition of a new item which we will classify as 12A, consideration for authorization for the town manager to enter into an interlocal agreement with Rowan County for the provision of personal protection equipment relating to the COVID-19 virus.
Okay, do I have?
At this time, I make a motion that we add those 2 as previously read.
I'll second it. I have a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? No. Mr. Quinn? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We will move to number 8.
Citizen comments.
Oh,
6.
sorry. Number 6, citizen comments. Tonight, Mr. Barefoot will be reading the comments that were sent in via email. We only have one, and Mr. Barefoot will be reading that.
Thank you, Mayor. This email was sent to the mayor by Larry Farmer, and he states to the mayor in the beginning of the letter of the document that he wants, he said, I want people of Landis to know that there are some positive things that we have here in our little town, something we should be very proud of, people who need our thanks for doing their job extremely well and putting their own life at risk at times to do the job. Excuse me. My wife, Beth, has an artificial hip on the morning of March 19, 2020, as she was stepping into the bathtub. Her hip joint popped out of place. This happened one other time about 5 years ago. Our son Jonathan was able to pick her up and put her in the car, and we took her to the hospital. This time it was different. Beth and I were home alone. When she realized what had happened, she tried to get it to pop back into place, but it would not. I decided to call Jonathan and ask him to come home. I called at just the right time as he was standing right beside Officer Lambert, school resource officer at South Berlin. I told Jonathan what had happened, and he immediately asked the officer to notify emergency services, which he did very quickly. It was not very long until one of our volunteer firemen drove up in a black truck. I did not get his name, but he was on the scene in just a minute or two. Shortly thereafter, the emergency techs arrived on a fire truck, and soon after, the EMS ambulance arrived. I wanted to compliment all of the Landis emergency personnel for the way they all handled this medical situation. They were very professional each and every step of the way, from the time they stepped onto our property until the ambulance left to take Beth to Northeast Medical Center. I could not have asked for any better treatment of my wife during the treatment by the Landis EMS crew. They did everything they could to ease the pain that Beth was in, and was very meticulous in doing that. Please pass on my thanks to the Landis EMS personnel, /firefighters, who provided the medical assistance to Beth during this emergency. Our son Jonathan probably knows the name of most of the EMS personnel that were on site. But I don't, so I must simply say thank you to all the men involved in the handling of this medical emergency. I couldn't be prouder of our EMS personnel. The people of Landis need to know that. There are great things about Landis and our EMS personnel. It's just that. Thanks to the firefighters and other EMS workers. Every time you see one of them, I hope nobody else has to ever go through what Beth had to endure. But I know in my heart that if they do, they will for sure be taken care of by some of the finest. And that's signed by Larry Farmer to 401 Pine Street.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we will move to number 7.
Mayor, at this time, I move that we consider adopting the minutes from January 6th, January 7th, January 20th, February 10th, and March 2nd, all of the year 2020.
All right, do I have a second? Any discussion? Mr. Poirier?
Oh, no,
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
That's passed. We will move to number 8.
Mayor, members of the board, you have to excuse me, I get a little bit dry, so I will have to do that a little bit. I've got water.
Okay.
And also, as you can see, I'm having to use a handheld mic. Shane worked on what we've got here last Thursday, and I worked on it. We've got it functioning. Shane came back and worked on it some on Friday. My promise to you is tomorrow morning we're going to work to get this thing fixed. It's ridiculous that if we're going to record the meetings for the public to be able to see, it needs to be clear in speech and everything else. So we'll get that done.
Thank you.
This item is a resolution affirming the town of Landis support for the NCDOT project number 48921. That is a project that is not on the books to be anytime soon, but one part of the step in the process is that they have a resolution of support from the local municipality wherein the project will be constructed. And it is for a turn lane, a right turn lane on Old Baby Ford Road at the intersection with US Highway 29. And so I would assume that we ought to favor the project and not ask you to approve the resolution.
Okay, I do have a question. Were we contacted by the DOT? Who contacted?
I received an email from the engineer,
Okay.
and his request was, it is a requirement of the project for funding, and he didn't need it yesterday. I believe I got it in January, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So,
All right.
And this is only for the Old Bay Ford side, not on the rider side.
That's my understanding. That's only my understanding. I didn't see a drawing of the project or anything.
So it is my understanding that at some point before Old Betty Ford started, that, just a little back history, that there was some talk with possible a trucking company that is down off of US 29 had contacted DOT about a turning lane for that particular reason, for tractor trailer trucks and different things like that. And so it was kind of discussed, it was talked about, and it kind of disappeared. So it must have come back up in January, and that must be what it is. So it's only on that side of Old Betty Ford, just in that top portion.
And I've, during my career, I've worked on numerous projects, especially on the planning side. And as they monitor traffic flows, and
Right.
they decide what kind of improvements need to go on it. They usually are in competition with other projects, and eventually it'll rise to the top.
Right.
And I'm sure with the Betty Ford 85 exchange, traffic will increase more in that direction.
Oh, yeah. That's very good. All right. So make a motion.
Mayor, I move we consider this resolution of support for NCDOT project 48921.
A second. Any discussion? Any questions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is passed.
Waiting on you. The next item is a resolution, approval of a resolution for the town of Landis 2019 local water supply plan. That plan was completed last year, and the requirement is that it be approved by you all the following year. And so the resolution before you would do that, it would approve it. There is some support material here with it. If you have questions about the plan or the approval of the plan, I'd ask you to speak to Ron. He is here. He knows a lot more about the water supply plan than I do.
I didn't have any questions. Anyone else?
At this time, Board, I move we consider the resolution of approval for the Town of Landis 2019 local water supply plan.
I'll say.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we will move to number 10.
Mayor, members of the board, you have before you a declaration of withdrawal for an unopened portion of Hickory Street. I did include a memorandum detailing the information leading to the request for you, and in hopes that it would also give proper explanation to citizens who are watching or will read about it in the newspaper. But the property owners for the Vanquish Fence Company, which has been under construction for some time, approached the town a while back about possibly opening up that 200-foot extension of which will be it's a strip 200 feet between South Chapel and the property line for the Vanquish Fence Company. It was never opened. It's been there for many, many years. It's not on the file bill, and its purposes thus far have been the driveway to the property to the left if you're going off South Chapel into the Vanquish property, and the town's pumping station on the right side. There is a 12-inch water main in it. In reviewing the request, it makes more sense to me, and I think it's more practical than to make it a public street, which for 200 feet would only confuse people. It would be gated at the fence company property. You'd have a problem with people perhaps even going out and parking there at night, or trying to turn around and causing difficulties to the adjacent neighbor. And it would be difficult to put a cul-de-sac in it in the width of the property. The property is 20 feet wide. So the document, there is another item on the agenda. The gentleman has made an offer to purchase that 20-foot strip. And I have been informed by them that they have worked with the residential property owner to the left, and he's in agreement. They actually have an option to take the property once, if they are successful in acquiring it from us, and they'll put in a driveway, a paved driveway going into the property, and provide the neighbor a driveway access and some other things that he would like to have. So basically, his driveway now will be an improved driveway, and then the fencing company will have better access to the in and out for their trucks and stuff. I'm told they're not that many, but to go around the other way and come back in, it just makes sense for them, and they're willing to do it.
Right.
Plus, it'll be put on the tax books, and we'll get some revenue.
Okay.
It will be my recommendation that the board approve the withdrawal.
Board, I move we consider a declaration of withdrawal from an unopened portion of Hickory Street.
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And I will just point out that if you like the lettering on the map that's attached, my wife did that.
I noticed that and thought,
She has a
what
nice-
wonderful teacher handwriting. And I was going to ask, who in this building did that?
I persuaded her to do it.
We appreciate that, Angie. Thank you.
The next item is the resolution authorizing the advertising of an offer to purchase certain property. And under general statutes, the process for selling a piece of property is to declare it surplus. And then, if the board is agreeable to surplusing it, and to the price or the sum that's being offered, then it's up to the town to advertise that, direct the clerk to advertise it for 10 days. And if there's an upset bid, then it would be advertised again, and it would go on until the final price is reached. The person making the offer has to make a deposit equal to 5% of the offer. They have actually sent the full $2,500. We have that in our possession, should it remain to be the final high bid. But again, in the process for withdrawal, I should have mentioned this in the earlier discussion, half of the property goes to the property owner on the left, which is a private residence. The other half comes to the town. So that 20 feet in width is what they're bidding to purchase. The language that we have used so far and continue to use will include maintaining easements certainly for the water line and other easements as well.
All right. And what was the amount, did you say?
2,500. It is less than it's well less than a tenth of an acre. It's about 9/10, I think.
Board, I move we consider a resolution authorizing the advertisement of an offer to purchase certain property.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we will go to number 12? No,
Let's do 12A.
12A. 11A. No, 12A. Sorry. Oh, yes, that's it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We got that in another place. This interlocal agreement for provisions for personal protective equipment came to me by way of, actually the mayor tuned into the meeting on Friday, and I was trying to go to get a license plate renewal. Don't do that.
You tried today, it was
Impossible.
terrible.
But I did then, it was followed up by an email from the county manager that the Rowan County has agreed to allowing, through an interlocal agreement, to allow us to purchase personal protective equipment, buy it from them at their cost. We can buy it from whatever source we want to buy it from, and we can, according to the rules as I understand them from FEMA, because of the emergency declaration, we can file for reimbursement. But it doesn't make a lot of sense, and I compliment the county for seeing that. They have a health department, they have emergency management services, they have a greater need for equipment than we will. And so it makes perfect sense to me that we would buy it from them at cost and then file our own reimbursement. And that's particularly true if you look at the item 6 on the second page, that would be true as well if and when they are able to get rapid testing and same-day testing capabilities. So I think it's one of the great things about municipalities working with the counties, and I clearly recommend the board that we approve the interlocal agreement. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Discuss?
I move we consider to give authorization for the town manager to enter into an interlocal agreement with Rowan County for the provision of personal protection equipment related to the COVID-19 virus.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I would like to pause there just a second and thank all of our health department, our Rowan County leaders, I and Mr. Merritt, myself. We have been on numerous meetings every morning, 9:30 a.m. for Zoom, and they're on top of it. They're trying to keep us as safe as possible, asking multiple things for all of us citizens to do. And I want to extend my gratitude and from our board here in Landis that we appreciate everything you're doing.
The next item is to consider approval of Eddie Carrick, CPA, PC as an auditor for the year ending June 30, 2020. And it also includes approval of the motion I've asked to include approval of his proposed contract. Your finance director, our finance director, finance officer is the one who's been working through this. She's here to answer any questions, or I'll let her answer all questions. I'll clean the microphone off. And if you have questions, the contract amount is $10,000. That is down from $14,000 last year, and I believe the last few years. I can't specifically tell you, but I think that's correct. and that is correct. The one reason it's down is the change in finance rules. You have to have a separate entity to do your financials and your audit. And unless you are just big enough that you can have two people in the organization that can be separated, nothing to do with the coronavirus, but just far enough apart that it's clean. And they can't do that. So we are in a position, one of the bright spots in what I have seen during my few months here is what we've done in the area of finance. And I'm proud to say that we're able to bring the financials back in-house. So we will be doing those. We may have some minor expense in a lady who's been working with us in a part-time capacity. But it will probably, well, actually she said it'll be less than $4,000. She promised that. She said even if she has to stay up nights to get it done. And the lady is a retired finance officer, assistant county manager, and she's just been a dream for us. She's been working about 2 months now. And you will see the benefits of her and Diane's efforts together. So I would recommend, I would recommend we do approve the agreement with.
Was this bid out, or how did that process work? If you don't mind letting us know, I think that may be a question that citizens may have.
This was not bid out this year. We felt like with the number of changes that we've had going on over the past couple of months, that we needed a little bit of consistency, especially that we're bringing the financials, and we're going to be doing those in-house. My plan would be to bid this out next year. I did call the local government commission and talk with Sharon Edmondson about the Eddie Carrick, them continuing to do our audit. They've done it for a number of years, and I just wanted to confirm with them that they were comfortable with us staying with them for another year, and we did get their blessing on doing that. So I feel confident that we'll get a good audit from them, and that with the financials being done in-house, if there's any questions that we have, we'll be able to answer or be able to ask those appropriately.
I appreciate that. Anyone else have any questions for Ms. Seaver?
Thank you for all of the work you've done.
Yes, we
No,
appreciate it.
absolutely, no problem.
Pass it to Pam as well.
She has been a godsend.
She has.
She has freed me up to be able to help with some other things and help me learn Landis a little bit better, and really, she is an expert in digging into the details, and I think you will see as we move through the budget process, we've changed up some accounts, we've got things in the appropriate place, and I feel really confident about moving forward.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. At this time, we will make a motion to accept the contract from Eddie Carrick CPA. Have a second?
I move we consider the approval of Eddie Carrick CPA as auditor for the year ending June 30th, 2020, and also to include approval of the proposed contract.
I second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move to number 13.
Thank you, Mayor. I tried to put a bit of detail in the manager's report for April. I feel like you want...
Go to number 13. We need to do Shelley Williams zoning activity report.
Oh.
Do you want to speak on that, or you just...
Just,
She
asked me if she could do it,
Yeah, I
and
do
it's just
appreciate
your
that.
own consumption to see. You can see a lot of residential construction.
Well,
Which,
and people ask us, I feel like, a lot about what's going here, what's going there, and not that we can know right off the top of, like, I can't tell them it's going to be this, but we can at least have a permit use of what they ask for. We appreciate it. Tell Shelley.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
And of course, you know, Shelley, one value in Shelley has a lot of history here.
Yes.
Over the years, and so that has been a blessing as well. I did go in a little greater detail in the manager's report, and not as much detail as I could go into, because as it was alluded to in Diane's comments about what we've been doing, they have been, they really have, you're going to like what you see at budget time. You're going to like what you see going forward in how the records are reflected. You'll get more detail on where the money is coming from, where the money is going, as it should be.
Absolutely.
And it'll be a gift that keeps on giving. And Pam is a workaholic. She beats me here every morning. So, and Diane, only a minute or two. Online bill pay, you know, we work, especially because of the coronavirus, they work tirelessly to get it up and running, and it's out there. We've sent out the phone tree, and we've learned this about the phone tree. When you do the phone tree, a lot of people are not going to be there, and they're going to call and wonder why they got a missed call, so we're working on that. Maybe to some degree thankfulness to the coronavirus, we have had to expand how we get information out. And I'm old school. I don't do much Facebook, but I do understand that it's out there, and I do understand that it's a way to get information out. And the mayor and others have been good at using that tool, and we will continue to do that. I'll skip over the paragraph on financial issue. I think we've addressed that. My comment about being 2.5 months away from adopting the budget. That's not a lot of time. The requirements are for the manager to have a budget presented to the board during May, and I will do that. And then, of course, we have to adopt it by the June 30th, which we will be ready to do that. But there are a lot of other things that we're working on that are part of the budget process, the changeover, and we've got a lot of work to do, and we will be talking about that to you more openly in the next few weeks. I do plan to stay on schedule for the meeting in 2 weeks. If we are still in the mode as we are today because of the virus, I will probably ask you all, we'll advertise and ask you all to have a budget workshop, perhaps at 5 or 5:30 on the day of the meeting on April 4th. Because we've got to get you up to speed on where we are in terms of the budget. But I won't do that. I won't ask you to do it right now. We'll wait and see. But from my own experience at budget time, and you know, there may be recess meetings in June, particularly in June, because a lot of times you'll have budget amendments near the end of the month, and so we'll work through that. But I can tell you tonight versus a month ago, my confidence in where we would be is way different. I feel really, really good about what. There are some good news in those numbers, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Thank you.
The vacant positions, as I have indicated, I have made a little progress in filling the police chief's position. There are three that are out there right now. I feel good about you know, what we're doing in the police department. I think considering the environment with the stay at home and everything else, I would really like for the stay at home to be lifted before we do the serious interviews with the next police chief. And if that doesn't happen on May or the end of April, then I may change my opinion. But right now, that's my opinion. Landis pool issues. We had planned to have you all to discuss the pool tonight and make some final decisions about the fees and the schedule. But with the, there is still remains the fear that the pool may not open on time. We don't know. But I think the 2 weeks between now and April 4th is worth going slow and find out. I got a feeling we'll know more about the stay-at-homes and that kind of thing between now and then, because it will affect how we pay for what we pay for the use of the pool and certain things. So we will put the pool discussions for your consideration on the April 4th meeting. Code enforcement. May 4th, I'm sorry. Thank you. Code enforcement is phones are ringing off the hook. We're getting a lot of complaints. I know you all, some of you all are getting complaints, and we're working on those complaints. Generally, what we do is send a courtesy letter, and if we get a response, we will work with them. If we don't get a response, then we'll send a formal notice and give them 10 days or whatever it is to comply. Almost every, well, actually, every complaint we've had, I had gone out and visited myself, and they are worthy complaints. They really are. And going back to my many years of experience in working in local governments, if you don't combat it, it'll just get worse. And I mean, all property owners should have a right to, you know, a clean neighborhood and neighbors that respect each other. So I'll be glad to take any of your concerns. You want to call me later or talk to me, give me your opinions on where you are as an individual board member, but also where you are as a collective member.
Can we discuss that for just a moment?
Sure.
I would like to say, as the mayor, I believe it's time that we clean up our town. I think that Mr. Barefoot and myself have spoken a couple different times about maybe a cleanup day for the whole entire town of Landis. And we will have our public works guys come by the next week and pick up the items that you have. If you would like to bring them over to Public Works and drop them off at the larger dump that they have in the back. But it's time that we take pride in our town, and I think for a couple of years, maybe more than a couple of years, we've allowed things to sit, wait, we'll work on it. We're not going to touch it because it's this or that. I think that it's 2020, it's time for change, and we need to do it. And that goes for myself. I've worked out really a lot in my front yard, and just cleaning up bushes and cutting them down, and whether it be pressure washing, whatever it may be. It's time that we do it. And right now it's a stay-at-home order. If you're not an essential employee, you could be bringing it to the road right now. And so I think that as a board, I could speak for the 4 other members, that we all do want to see our town cleaned. And very desirable to ride up any road, whether it's a back road or a main road, side road, however, whatever road you may live on. We're all a part of a community, and we need to make it look better. Any discussion from board members?
I guess lastly, just want to say that you know, our employees have been treated throughout this declaration as essential employees, and Probably the only ones that, under typical terms, would be considered essential would be the recreation places. We can shut down recreation, but the need for people to get out and about, that's a wonderful resource out there. So we've all worked, and we have monitored daily, as the Mayor has mentioned. And truthfully, if all of a sudden there was rampant cases being developed in our town, we would be the first to look at it differently.
Absolutely.
So, but I want to commend our employees. They've been dedicated and worked hard, and we'll try to figure out a way to reward them one day when we can all be together. That's all I have, unless you have questions. I'm sorry.
You want to talk about that water thing for the churches and the
Yes.
businesses and employees?
There's I added at the last moment, Chris Ritchie sent it to me, I guess the day the agenda was going out. But it was a reminder and to help people understand that have churches that are shut down, businesses that are shut down, that water, when you sit in those pipes that long, it can grow bacteria, it can do some things. You need to run it, you need to flush out, and so I just called your attention to that, and I think we put that in the
On the website.
on the website, and we put it in the
Landis current.
Landis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, the revised edition looks really good.
Did those go out or no? We chose not to do
No,
that, right?
they're on there.
Okay, let me speak on that for just a moment. Previous years, you've always received your bill, and when you opened up your bill, you opened it up, and behind it would have been a green, a purple, a yellow, some sort of newsletter. Most folks tell me that they don't read their newsletter. They open it up, they look, they know what they have to pay, they write a check, throw it away. With technology, our hope is that we will post it on our social media pages, whether it be our town website, our Facebook page, and then we will share it around. I've challenged people to share it just so that people have the upcoming news of our town. We also will have printed copies when it is a time as appropriate for you to be able to come back into town hall. They will be sitting where you can pay your bill with Miss Deb or Miss Liv, also with Miss Janine. They will be out for you to take. If there is somebody that you can't get out and you want a physical copy of one, by all means, call up here. I will bring it to you. I do not mind. We can drop it off to you, and no problem at all. But with the times of changing, it's just a cost that I'm not sure that we should incur. So it was a cost that was a little more than maybe we would like to spend, but we may start doing the call tree, or it would text you, let you update you on current events that are happening, whether it be stuff going on with COVID, when we shut down town hall, or we wanted to limit the access of one or two in the building at a time. Those are updates that I feel that the board or the town manager need to get to you in a timely manner. Not something that we can mail out to you, something that you can receive via phone or an email. So we're working on trying to transition into more of a 2020 type time frame of doing social media, different types of ways to contact you. And so with that being said, we're working on trying to figure out whether it's going to be a call tree all the time, a text, an email, how we're going to do that. But if you are, like my father, who says, I just need to read it on paper, that's fine. I would be more than willing to bring you one at any time. Just call up here and tell one of the ladies, and I'll get it to you. That's all for that.
That's all I have.
Board comments.
What?
Board, we will go to board comments. We'll start with you, Mr. Stewart.
No, I just wanted to say thank you for all the town hall administration staff, all departments, fire, police, streets, public works, for all of your service, and to all of you citizens, stay safe during this unsure COVID-19 times.
Didn't say it, anything I'd say.
Reiterated by Mr. Poyer. We'll move over here to Mr. Overcash.
I'll second exactly what they said.
All right.
We got some good people working for this town. I've trimmed some bushes and some shrubs and put stuff out.
Painted your front
Gone,
door.
painted them where I stand. Come home next day and stuff gone.
Yeah.
Neighbors have put out trees and limbs and stuff. They get it. They get it done.
Our guys are on there for
Yep.
sure.
They sure do.
I'll just echo what Ashley said. I greatly appreciate all the town employees, everything they've done and continue to do.
I appreciate each and every one of you. I will say with COVID-19, when it started, if you watch the map, if you get on Rowan County, they have a link where you can click and it goes straight over into COVID-19 and it gives you the breakdown of zip codes. And at first, about the first week that we were on there, they were very adamant upon not letting you know the zip codes. And through some discussion of municipalities, they decided that they would go ahead and do zip codes. I have to say that I'm super proud of our community for doing what has been asked. We have stayed and maintained at the number 3 since all of this has started about 3.5 weeks ago. I appreciate each and every one of you for following the directions, for listening to what needs to be done. It is uncertain times for sure, but we will get through it. We'll be better for it. And until then, stay 6 feet apart, social distance, and we appreciate you viewing tonight. Thank you. I will ask that we consider a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Good evening.